Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders, in green our Category 2, in blue Category 3 and Category 4 in red. Game over some of these riders already. We are not 2K. This has not been done before. First time on MyWhoosh. What a ride. If nothing else happens during the course of this race, we're seeing history made because you have just put down the move of the race in the first 2 kilometres. Ollie Jones is still at 5.4, 5.5 watts per kilo.
He's picked his pace and he's picked his heart rate.
He's absolutely, really impressive ride. The scary thing is, though, he's just gone over half race distance.
Is it going to make the difference as they travel towards the line? Allport goes over the top. No, Dadson's now got it. Can Allport come back? Mark Dadson takes it from Allport.
The first rider home. Look at the distance he's putting to everybody else in the final kilometre here. It is Allport who can cruise to victory here on qualifier race number 2. Quadrelli leading. Valley's coming at 10 watts per kilo. So is Caligula. Bradley has got to make a move since the run is so tight. You've got to finish it off in style. Here comes the banner. Velez leading it out. Quadrelli on his right-hand side. Caligula comes, but it's going to be Velez who takes it.
4.7 watts per kilo. That's not a big kick. Giuliano is coming. 7.6 watts per kilo. But he's left it too late because Monella is going to take the win today in Category 3.
Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It is qualifier race number 1 here, and we are looking forward to some absolutely cracking racing. As you saw, November from start to finish really did impress. The riders shown us just what they're made of. My name's Matt Payne. I'm going to be taking you through all of the race action. I'll be joined in a little while by Emma Martin. Emma, normally in from the start of the show, but we're just going to give her voice a little bit of a rest. For those of you who weren't watching the women's show, you will not be aware that Emma is a little bit under the weather today, but there was no way she was going to miss the racing, particularly the men's race today, because we are on Alula on the brand new revamped Heritage Climb route, which you can see in front of you. We have our first 3 sprints. Yeah, so what? Not bothered about them. It's a 16.3k hitter that is the Heritage Climb. This is a Category 2 climb. It comes in at a third of the race distance, and it is an absolute stonker. This has been revitalized. It is like it has decided it's going to have a bad day out because it is really vicious, and you can see that in the profile. We then drop down to the Canyon Oasis climb, which is steep and nasty. It is a 4.9% average gradient, and it's consistent as well. It is a pretty short climb at 1.6k long, but it then goes over towards the cliff sprint before dropping down, and then we go on to our final climb of the day. More of that later on. As you can see, we have our 4 categories ready to go. We have Category 1 in yellow, Category 2 in green, Category 3 in blue, and Category 4 in red are going to be our first race field to take to the race start. A great set of riders across all 4 categories. Let's bring you those Category 4 riders first of all. We're in with Rodolfo Stoga, one of our regular fast starters on the Sunday Race Club in Category 4. We have the Bauhaus Sport Club, the Spinergy, the Anzacs, and upcycled 4 teams in the running, along with a real mix of characters. The Bauhaus Sport Club with Vanegas, Warren Montoya, and Montoya. As well, we have, of course, Finati and Cronia in the Spinergy squad. The Anzacs have Noah McMurtry, Yates, and Francis Zanaska, Lloyd, Schoberg, and Mayada, the upcycled team, who's going to take it out. Our Category 4 riders lined up and ready to go. This is a key moment. Away we go. Brand new race route. It is the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's qualifier number 1 for December. We are underway. So I'd like to welcome into the studio the one and only, back with us after just literally running downstairs to refresh herself, because we have with us Emma Martin. Emma, now I did explain to people you're feeling a little bit under the weather, and but there was no way you were going to miss today's racing.
No, absolutely not. I'm not missing today's racing. The men's race is on a brand new course, and you know how I like a brand new course. And B, well, the women's racing was fantastic earlier on, and I couldn't miss that to start. But I am really pleased to be here, and my voice is holding up. I am sustained by a fantastic concoction of hot water, ginger, lemon, honey, and yogi tea throat comfort tea. Now, I have to say...
Do you know what? The guys in the background are going to be going, what on earth that is? The team behind the scenes in the studios are going to be thinking, that is... I mean, we were talking before the show about what you actually put in your cups of tea in the studio being quite weird at the best of times. But that is, even for you, that is some good.
No. Now, I have to say, yogi tea is probably... I am a bit of a tea fanatic. And yogi tea is one of the herbal teas I really like. But this one has a mixture of fennel, licorice and thyme, and some added additions to the teapot. My voice is still with me.
Well, let's see if Emma sounds like she's smooth as honey, or if she sounds like she is sounding like an elephant trumpeting with his toe squished in a vice, because we're about to go past the Elephant Rock. This is for real. Now, for those of you who can't see us on the screen, which you can't, thank goodness, today, because it is we have in our background, we are in front of Elephant Rock, in fact, on our little screens behind our green screen. However, this is Elephant Rock coming up, and we're going to go right through the middle of it, between the trunk and the toes. And there you go. Anyone would think I thought about that link. So we're on our way through with Category 4. They are the first category away. Already you can see on the left-hand side of your screen it is breaking up. Now, for those people who are new to MyWhoosh, who maybe haven't watched before, maybe get a little easily confused, because it's very easily done, believe me. I am one of those people. We have two worlds in existence. They are parallel worlds. They're identical. In one world, we have categories 1 and 2. In the other world, we have category 3 and 4. And that means that in this world of category 3 and 4, there are 74 people on the start line at the moment. And the rider we are watching at the moment, which is Wanda Santa Maria, is rider number 25 of those 74 people. And because he's right in the middle of the pack, it's yo-yoing up and down like crazy, because he's able to move position. Now, that means that the position you see on the top right-hand side of the screen is between categories 3 and 4, and it gives us an indication of where they are relative to each other. But because we've got so many riders, which is fantastic on the Sunday Race Club, it does mean that we do split categories 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 apart. Now, in the racing, left-hand side of your screen, you can see that we have the satellite navigation view, and that shows us that we have one rider going clear. You can see it on your screens. It's Xavier Maillard, the Belgian, at the moment on the attack here in Alula. He is on his way out from the start line at the moment. He's putting a quick kick now. Category 4 are known, infamous, notorious, or famous, dependent on your point of view,
For a fast start.
For a blisteringly quick start. And they didn't do it from the line. They waited for about half a minute before they did that.
Well...
Now, they're underway. We got category 3 ready to go. Emma, the category 3 riders are very strong. It's a big race field in there. I know we've got some teams, but outside of those teams, is there anyone in particular that's caught your eye who is not part of the Italian Espresso, the Level Racing Anzacs, or WTBR squad?
Category 3, 51 riders on the start sheets today. And yes, Cameron Dadson is back in. That's really nice to see. Now, Mark Dadson, Luke Allport and Dexter Bello all went up from Category 4 to Category 3 last month. They are all on the start sheet. Milastic is here, Giuliano is here, Diduch is here, all who had top 5s in the final last week. But there are some other great riders in here. Moreno is here, Hoyas is here, Pulgarin is here. The seconds are counting down, and you can see the number of blue jerseys on that start line. So we're in with Mark Dadson at the moment, and away go our Category 3 riders. This is the second category to start today. Category 4 started 5 minutes ago. Category 2 won't start for another 10 minutes. So category 3 now up and out on the road. They're up and out of start pen. The pace is high already, 43 kilometers an hour, just 200 meters traveled. The momentum is rolling, and you can see we have riders from around the globe in this pack.
It is a huge pack, people out and around the world jumping on MyWhoosh, and we would love you to join them. Remember, of course, Sunday Race Club is the premier race on MyWhoosh at the moment. I say that because, of course, MyWhoosh are the esports partner of the UCI. That's the universal governing body, basically, the Union Cycliste Internationale, which is the governing body for cycle sport around the globe. And MyWhoosh, the esports partner, right the way through to 2026. Really looking forward to that. Even if we knew the plans, we wouldn't be able to tell you, but we don't. So don't bother asking, to be brutally honest. We can tell you the finals will be of the World Championships will be in October, and that's about all we know too. And that's quite simply because everybody in the background is working hard to make sure we've got some great racing for everybody, that it's going to be, as you'd expect from MyWhoosh, exciting, it's going to be fair, it's going to be honest, and it's going to be full of action.
Well,
and Johan Moreno, I am hoping he's going to be there doing the business, because he is one of our instigators of action.
Well, Moreno is pushing on. Sir is the rider covering the move. Dadson is there as well. So these riders now all pushing on here, because this is a fast start, and I think they've got a little pact. First one under the elephant arch wins the race.
It's not so much the elephant in the room, it's the elephant arch that you race through. I'll tell you something, it's
a race within a race. First one through. Okay, who's going to win? It is going to be...
Oh, sure.
Indeed. There we go. Well, at 1.4 kilometers into this 45-kilometer race, they are under the elephant arch. 3 riders off the front of category 3.
I might have a chance if it was like
a 1.2 kilometer race. Well, whilst Matt dreams of 1.2 kilometer races, the men today, 45 kilometers on this Alula Heritage Racecourse, 707 meters of climbing, and we've got 3 sprints before we hit the first climb of the day, and that first climb today is a category 2 climb with an average gradient of 5.7%. It's 5.8 kilometers long. Then 8k later, we have the second climb of the day. It's short, just 1.6k with an average gradient of 4.9, but it's going to be decisive. I think it's going to be a real kicker in this race. Then we have the final climb, which finishes 1.2k before the finish line.
Yeah, the Nabatean Cave climb is going to be an absolute stinker of a climb at 2.4k long, and it is just 1.2k, my favourite distance apparently now, to the finishing line. So a race to the Elephant Rock for 1.2k and a race off the final climb to the line of 1.2k. Very equidistant. One will be more decisive than the other, and I suspect it'll be the last 1.2k. But as you can see, we have categories 3 and category 4 underway out on the race route. We're in with category 4 at the moment, and it's already breaking up. We're seeing people go on the front, on the attack, and come back.
Yeah,
and we are seeing more and more aggressive racing. Now, you see our characters up
there. Look
there.
at them, enjoying their riding, enjoying their racing.
And if you want to do that when you're on MyWhoosh, if you've not worked out how to do that, it's really easy. It's emotes. So they are down at the right-hand side. So between where you can see it says the scrolling white bar across there, which tells you about MyWhoosh, and the details on the right. When you're riding normally, just about there, between those 2 sections, so 2/3 of the way across the screen, on the bottom of the screen, there is a little emotes button. You can press that, and that gives you your interactions, and you can flat battery, Usain Bolt, you can say do your turn. That's my favourite one. You can wave. I don't do much waving. I do take your turn, get on with it. Emma waves. During that sums up our characters, really, the emotes on MyWhoosh. I say get on with it and get on with your turn, and you wave to people.
It's because I'm friendly.
Yeah, I'm quite grumpy, really.
Well, you said that, so Matt has dictated and said that he is indeed grumpy, but I tell you something.
It's true.
We've got Kaluma here, Warren's in here, Yates is in here, Montoya is in here. These riders all riding strongly as we flip back into the Category 3 race. And I'll tell you something, Moreno really wants to stay out here and he wants to make this a hot race from the start. So he might be on the boardwalk over the water at the moment, but Moreno has got fire coming out of his pedals. He's pushing on. Sergio Hoyos now leading the charge behind with Roncalli and Stretting. They are pushing now and trying to bring the group back.
I think the new course has inspired people. I think people don't know how it's going to ride towards the end as much as they maybe do with some of the other courses. I think because we're in the revamped world of Alula, people have been out and riding it, and that is really key. So if you were, let's say you were racing or you were riding on the Alula World, my first time on Alula World was 2 years ago. That is a scary thought. 2 years ago, Alula World was very different than it is now, and the development is absolutely mind-blowing. But it's out, you can ride on it. It is fantastic to ride, and I think that's inspired people as well. I know a number of our riders were out recceing the climb, particularly the Heritage Climb. That has made a big difference because people have been out to check it out. And don't forget, please, guys, make sure you get on the platform and ride. It's not just about Sunday Race Club, it's about riding, it's about getting out there and enjoying the racing. Now, as this group comes back pretty much together, you can see we are split. That's on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. There is the group that we're in with now, which is approaching the sprint that comes at 4 kilometres. It comes actually at 4.3 kilometres, and this is Artist Alley Sprint. So if you are a bit of an artist, if you want to see whether you can write a masterpiece, whether you are going to paint a Picasso, or whether or not you're going to look more like my stick drawings on a Sunday morning, then maybe now's the time to go for it.
Well, talking about drawings, I'm just taking another look at the map at the moment. And you know what my first thoughts were when I saw this? I thought, Wollongong and Belgium.
Did you?
I did. I thought that climb coming at that point at 16.3 kilometres is quite Wollongong-esque.
It's quite outer loop-esque.
Exactly.
Yes.
That outer loop of Australia, and then the Belgium-style climbs afterwards, I think, are really interesting. But even take a look at the Heritage Climb. If you look really closely at it, it's a very stepped climb with steep sections, flat sections, downhill runs as well. You know, this is very technical climbing today.
It is, and our riders are really aggressive. Mark Dadson is on the move. We saw Luke Allport go through the sprint, take the sprint there, and then Mark Dadson's on the attack.
Well, we see this on the outer loop course, don't we? Because, you know, with that climb coming at 16 kilometres, the race takes place early, and that's exactly what's happening here. Mark Dadson is absolutely driving off the front of this Category 3 race now, picking up the pace that we saw earlier, making sure the pace doesn't settle back down, you know, absolutely driving it from the front and keeping it fast. Because let's be realistic, 51 riders on the start sheets of Category 3 today. Nobody wants to take that many riders into the first climb at 16 kilometres.
It's so risky, isn't it? And the reason it's risky, probably we should explain this, is because when you're in a big group, it's so difficult to see where those splits are. And if you're at the back of that group, if it rotates through, because it is harder on the front and it's easier at the back, the temptation is to sit near the back of the group, the middle of the group. If a gap opens up in front of you on that climb, you've got a lot of work to close that down. Now, if you're up near the front third of the pack, and this is true whether you're racing outdoors or indoors, front third of the pack means you can generally keep an eye on the moves. You don't have to watch out for crashes. Don't have to watch out for people having a quick cuddle with the floor in front of you. That shouldn't be happening around you when you're on your turbo trainer. However, the gaps can still open up and then you are in trouble. Now, Categories 4 and 3 are away. Category 2 are going to be our next category as we work our way through. They are 10 minutes after Category 3. Our teams on board today are the Beast Mode powered by Rose, the Hitmen, and the UAE Falcons. And as you saw on the rewind, the Hitmen, well, they played an absolute blinder last time out, going from the gun. This time around, they are slightly underrepresented today, with Henry East being the main man there today. Will he be able to do this solo? Will he try to achieve with his teammates? I'm not so sure, but I'm not surprised after last time. We have a real mix of riders in here. Who's going to go for it? Well, here we go. Category 2 are underway. We're in with Julian David Munoz Giraldo, hereafter known as Julian Giraldo. Quite some Munoz Giraldo, because quite simply, there's so many long names sometimes. We struggle to fit them all in. We struggle to fit them all on the screen. Short names are good. Emma Martin.
We don't want to go about why short names are good in my family. My dad didn't like syllables in the first names. But talking about
he put
that,
2 in yours.
I know, you see.
His counting is as bad as mine.
I know, he didn't like names that could be shortened either, but everybody calls me M. Exactly. So one of the key things today in this Category 2 race that I am looking forward to is the fact that Filippo Quadrelli, the rider who has been dominant in Category 3 through November, has now progressed up into Category 2. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do and where he progresses to as this Category 2 racing for him continues. But Dont is here, Kirchner is here, Bert Kayen is here. Carsten Mayer finished 5th. Mendakowicz is back on the sheets. He's joined us again this week. Kranich is here. Graves, Spratt, Simmons, who finished 1st last week. Angarita is in here, as well as a new rider for Beast Mode powered by Rose, Moritz Ritter.
Interesting. This is going to be really interesting to see. I am absolutely loving the fact that Category 2 have come out marginally slower. They've then come than we would expect. They've come to about the same point. They've seen Elephant Rock and they've gone, oh, hang on a minute.
First one to the Elephant Rock wins.
We tried this about a week ago.
They're doing it. Look, they're doing it.
We tried this for Sign about a week ago. You know how that ended up with me bouncing down the road on my head.
Well, they are not going to bounce down the road on their head because this is MyWhoosh.
A lot.
And it's a soft landing.
Hang on. Hang on. Whilst the race action, look, I'll come back to what on earth is a soft landing on MyWhoosh.
Come on, Mendakowicz is pushing on, but Simmons is going over the top. Simmons has gone over the top and Graves is there, but Carsten Mayer is coming. Who wants it through the Elephant Rock? It's Mayer who takes it.
That was worthless. Absolutely worthless.
Did you enjoy that? But it was so much fun, and I really hope the riders enjoyed opening their legs up.
Right, for those of you who were wondering what on earth was going on, it's our fantasy sprint for some random point on the course that Emma just randomly chose. Now, as we go through, last time out, this was the Hitmen. Now, remembering back to that race, that very memorable final last week, Emma?
Yes.
You see, that bang on the head kind of done me too much damage. It was the Hitmen. Well, and we had a full Hitmen team doing that. Now, today on our start sheets, Henry's is the only official Hitman on the sheets. But that's not the case, is it?
No, it's not.
Because we have got Phil Graves in here.
And Simmons.
Olivier Simmons as well. And they are steadily working their way up near the front. Spratt's in here. Who's up at the front? Mendakowicz and Simmons is here. And oh, look at that. There's Phil Graves there as well.
And the only rider who's not on the start sheets who was in the Hitman lineup last week is indeed Cam Winfield. But let's put it this way. So the Hitmen, for those of you who didn't watch the final last week, and if you didn't watch the final last week, go back and watch, because particularly in Category 2, the way the Hitmen chose to ride the final and race the final, absolutely brilliant to watch in terms of team tactics and how different teams try different things. Now, I don't want to give a spoiler now to those people who haven't watched it.
Right, if you didn't watch it, close your ears for the next 30 seconds.
But whilst the Hitmen rode the way they did very early in that race, and it continued to work for them for some time, they didn't end up winning the team competition. The Wattage Warlocks won the team competition. Their riders finished in 2nd, 4th and 8th. The Hitmen finished 1st, 6th and 11th, 2 minutes, 30 seconds back. Now, in Category 1, the teams today are Whoosh, the Belgian Waffles and the UAE Clan team. And it was indeed the UAE Clan team who took back that top spot in the team competition in Category 1 last week. Vink, Knudsen, Popovic, SS and X100. They had a 1st, 2nd and 3rd with Vink, Popovic and Knudsen back on top. Well, will they be back on top today? Will one of their riders finish first? It's a course that I think should suit them today, Matt.
What I love about the new courses, or even the revamped courses, it's about who is doing what, where, and when on the day, and that is what's going to matter. Now, away we go on Category 1. The final category away, remember, they've given away 5 minutes in time to Category 2, 15 minutes to Category 3, and the whole 20 minutes to Category 4, but with the class of rider that we have on MyWhoosh on the Category 1 racing on the Sunday Race Club, we know that we're likely to see our Category 1 riders come in first, particularly when the course is a course with multiple climbs of different gradients and lengths, and that's exactly what we've got here today. Let's see who's going to take the win. Remember, this, of course, are very, very important for the riders. One thing I am wondering, Emma, the UAE clan team.
Yes.
They have Michael Vink, Pablo Popovich, SS, Mr. X100. They don't have Michael Knudsen today with them.
Is Knudsen not on the... I'm just taking a little look.
I don't think
was
he's
he in
here.
the start pen? You know, he did get in contact with me. This week he has been suffering a little from
I haven't seen him.
bit
I've been
of
looking
illness,
through the riders here.
a little bit of illness, and he was debating whether to take to the start line or not. You know, he talk about be ever present and be part and parcel of the Sunday Race Club.
Yeah, and that clan team, they work together so well. Bear in mind, it is a UAE clan team, and remember that what this weekend is. Of course, it was the UAE National Day yesterday, 52nd year day. It came up yesterday, and there was a 52-minute ride, 1 minute for every year. Will they take it? What I think is very interesting is that the clan team are always looking to take the team win. They're always in there as a team, and they always ride as a team. They get that practice in all the way through. It definitely shows in how they ride. People take it to them, and it gets tricky. Now, Emma will be telling you that the sprint has just been won for the Elephant Rock sprint. I was hoping she was too busy buried in her notes and missed it. Sam Hill, is that the Sam Hill? Sam Hill has just
Sam Hill.
The Sam Hill.
The Sam Hill
has just gone on the offensive, gone on the attack, and has opened up a gap on the rest of the bunch. So the bunch are going to each other like, seriously, this early? But Sam Hill's gone for this from Australia. He put down the pace. He has gone and done what I think is going to be a time trial effort from the start. Now, this sounds familiar to some people because guess what? It has been tried once or twice before, and it rarely works. But Sam Hill might be the man to do this. The chase is just starting to get animated. Zach Nair, who we know is very strong, still buried in the bunch. We've got Lionel Jassin in the bunch. It looks like Jason Osborne is the rider who is going off in pursuit. Osborne from the Belgian Waffle squad up here. Now, what I would love to know is Martin Martins with him, because I think Martin Martins was at an awards dinner last night.
Well,
and it may be that he's not made it to the race start line.
No.
happen.
I think I've seen Martin Martins.
No.
Have you not?
No. What was that? For anybody watching whose English is not first language, there's no such word as no. That was like multiple no's.
There is.
No.
The Vicar of Dibley's land.
Which was a 2000s TV program for anybody who's young, unlike Emma.
With the amazing Dawn French.
Yes, right. Anyway, getting back to the racing, and not the dodgy 2000s telly TV show, which some people found hilarious, but some people found tedious. Today's racing is neither, because today's racing is already animated thanks to Sam Hill. Now, Sam has gone on the attack. He's got off the front. We saw a pull from Jason Osborne to try and close this down. He didn't quite go back up into position, didn't get him quite the way back up there. As we go past the statues in stone of the two cyclists at the side of the road here, we're going underneath these rock arches, in with Jason Osborne at the moment. Now, Jason, for those of you who are new to the show, may not know Jason's pedigree. Jason is an Olympic silver medalist, if I remember correctly, in the rowing discipline. So in rowing, he is rowing pairs. He's a Olympic medalist. He's also a rider who rides professionally on the World Tour scene, and that means that he's kind of good. He's also a rider who is regularly raced and ridden on MyWhoosh since its inception, and that means that he knows how to ride on the platform, on the discipline, and that makes a huge difference. If you think you can jump from mountain bike to cyclocross, for example. Yeah, and if you listen to the Cyclocross World Cup, oddly enough, you might hear me say exactly the same thing a little bit later on when I'm covering the cyclocross later on today for the UCI. But you will find that if you jump from mountain bike to cyclocross, it doesn't translate. Two different disciplines. It takes time to get into how the riding is. If you jump from outdoors to indoors, so you're riding on the road outdoors, you ride on the road indoors, guess what? It's different, and riding the platform is key. Now, Sam Hill is on the move. Talent is talent, and Sam Hill, I think he's a talent.
I'm wondering what's telling you that, Matt? The fact that he's riding away from the Category 1 race, or
Yes.
the fact that he is just a strong rider? And that is really good to see. And what is really good to see, I love a brave rider. I love a rider who attacks. I love it when they absolutely push on and try and create the racing. Now, creating the racing, 17 seconds the gap. And is this a little bit like when Ollie Jones went last week?
It is basically the same kind of move. Sam Hill here is at 5.5 watts per kilo. He's rolling at between 5.3 and 5.5, dependent on the gradient. He's got his heart rate sitting at about 158. He's got a nice pedal cadence here of about 84, 85 revs per minute. He's sitting pretty smoothly here. He's not looking like he is going to blow up. He looks like he's sitting in an effort he can sustain. It's certainly looking good at the moment for him, and it's aided by the fact that the group behind are not particularly responding. They're not going slow. Do not get me wrong. SS at the moment just on the move here. So SS just starting to wind this up as we go in through the first of our sprints. This is the Artist Alley sprint. The man who painted the early sketches of the race, well, that is Sam Hill. We're just going to wait to see when those results come up. But I suspect that Sam Hill's time might not be the fastest because SS, I think, is trying to start to instigate this. Now, one of the key things, anybody who has ridden competitively will know, and this is whether you're competitive in a race or competitive between you and your friends, what is really, really key is being able to trigger the action and make people do things. SS went down there and he put the power down. You can see he's in 8th place in this sprint, but his time is not that quick. It's 8th. You know, you've got a lot of Category 2 riders in there, and their race has been competitive from the start. But what SS was trying to do, and I think what Johan Noren to a degree was responding to, was trying to fire the racing up, to try and get everybody to work and actually engage with the fact that we've got a rider down the road. And that is key. So SS, I think, is using his race knowledge and his race skills here. He's putting a quick time through there. He's hoping to animate this chase a little bit because the UAE clan team will not want to do all of the work. And you can do that in other ways. If you're outdoors and you're riding next to somebody, or if you're indoors and you're in the same physical location, because we know a lot of our riders are riding in the same place, the same gym, the same bike club, HQ, or similar. If you're next to somebody, it's really easy. You click the gears, you stamp on the pedals, you move up on their shoulder if you're outdoors. Well, that's exactly what you can do here. You can push on, you can put a fake, you can put a dummy down, and that may well be what pushes you on. Now, that is about stimulating fake racing, if you like, and trying to get everybody else to do the work. What you get in here is the real McCoy, because our riders in Category 4, guess where they are? They have passed that 16.3k marker that brought them onto the Heritage Climb. This is the Heritage Climb, as you can see, as you go across this bridge, as you come into the climb. We are at over 8% at the moment. left-hand side of your screen, you can see the twists and turns on the Heritage climb. And remember, this climb is not a consistent gradient. You can see it top right-hand side of your screen. So if you put together the top right-hand side, which is the profile of this particular part of the climb, the gradient at the moment over 10%, the left-hand side with those twists, turns, and wiggly sections of road, and then mix the two together with the fact that our riders are absolutely covering that screen in red chevrons with yellow chevrons dotted in between. You can see why this is tough and why this group is already breaking up. I expect this to fracture. My expectation is we're going to have 5 or 6 riders in each of our categories together at the end of this climb, and then it is going to be absolutely hell for leather to the finish.
Well, I think this is going to be really interesting, actually, Matt, and your assessment that there's going to be 5 or 6 riders in each pack. I think if you do not go over the top of this climb with the leaders in your category, you don't stand a chance of winning the race. However, I do wonder whether some of the riders will not go full gas on this climb because they know that the rest of the race is ahead of them and that there are short, sharp climbs where we know that if a rider really kicks and really kicks hard on one of those short, sharp climbs, they can put in a race-winning move. It's only going to take 20 seconds of a gap to be able to stay away from the 30k mark.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm loving your time, Mister. I thought I was brave saying 5 riders. You go for 20 seconds. I think the problem is because this course has been revamped, because the world of Alula is much different and much improved, and you've got riders, and they're ever-evolving bunches with new riders. I mean, look at Sam Hill going off the front.
Well, Sam Hill is a class rider.
He is.
Absolutely.
But you look at that sort of changing impacts, changing movement. It makes the riders race very differently, and I think it's an unknown at the moment, certainly in terms of time. Let's see if our assessments are right. Category 2 now at 10.6 kilometers. This actually is just after the D1 sprint. There is a little bump in the road, and you can see it on top right-hand side of your screen. But what's happened is Obitko, Mayer, and Mendakowicz have gone off the front of the group. They've got themselves a gap of about 4 or 5 seconds here, and if they push over the top, they can utilize the descent and basically gravity grabbing hold of them and the bikes. They're going to come descending down, and they're heading in towards those start pens as they come around in the loop. Because if you have ridden in the Alula world in MyWhoosh, you'll know that the world is a series of loops that is absolutely brilliant fun to ride. It is one of my favorites to ride. I say this quite a lot, but it is, in terms of general worlds, it's a really great world, and now it's been revamped. It is brilliant. There's so much to catch your eye. Even if you're feeling rough because you bounced your head down the road on a bike the week before, if you jump on your bike on this, actually it's really nice and engaging. It takes your mind off the fact that everything else hurts. Now, our leaders are clear. Ruben Dont is behind, leading the chase impact. That's in category 2 on the right of your screen. On the left-hand side of your screen, these are the leaders in category 1. And as you can see, they're on the flatter section of the course. We're in with Jakob Björklund. And at the moment, well, that pack is still looking pretty steady.
Yeah, it is indeed looking pretty steady, and the quality and strength and depth of this race field is just being added to week after week with the new riders coming in, creating phenomenal racing for us and for viewers, as well as for the competitors themselves. So Popovic is in here, Keradine is here, Jochems is here, Zabata, Thiem, Safrazad, Turek is here. Now, Martins was a rider on form in November. Can his form hold until December? You know, this type of course could suit him, you know. But interesting here, Ollie Jones went for a long breakaway last week, but we're seeing a long stretch now come on this Category 1 race. Is this finally a response to Hill going off down the road?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's a response to him or whether it's a... Do you know what? We actually need to start winding this up. They're using... There's a slight bump in the road, and they're using those little gradients. You saw the pressure go on. It's come back off again now. Yeah. I mean, Sam Hill is 30 seconds down the road. There was a little push over the top, but look at those numbers. I mean, 2.5, 3 watts per kilo. These guys they're capable of so much more. They've eased back off the pace. A little bit of an injection, maybe just test the legs out. Let everybody have a little bit of a suffer, and then back together.
But it's difficult, isn't it? You know, now I know that that a number of these riders will know Sam Hill. They will know his riding style. They will know what he's like and what he's capable of, and they will be reviewing that information in terms of the tactics they employ with the attack kit. But let's not forget, both Sam Hill and his brother Ben Hill went to the Esports World Championships this year to represent Australia. Absolutely class riders, and sometimes, you know, now Hill hasn't raced on the Sunday Race Club. He's come in and he's really taken it to them and seeing what he can do.
And that's a great way of finding out, isn't it? If you are a class athlete, well, sometimes, you know what, you just got to put it down there.
Ride your own race.
Ride your own race and see how everybody responds, because learning the platform, learning the riders and how riders are strong, who's strong, because not all the riders are the same across all of the esports world in different race leagues, formats, and platforms. And because, of course, that when we come to the come to October, towards the end of 2024, not 2023, but 2024, we are going to see the best in the world fighting it out in the World Championships on MyWhoosh. Will we see the riders on your screen there? Well, time will tell. Very interesting snapshot, because if you discount SS, who again has gone through that sprint very quickly, all the rest of the riders are within pretty much half a second of each other. From Ruben Dont in Category 2 to David Talbot and all the front of Category 1, including Sam Hill, who's right in the middle of that front pack in terms of time, and yet on the course is away. And if you look at the numbers, people like David Talbot, who we know is very, very quick. He's great on a climb. He's often in the breakaway. His heart rate well down, 144.
Yeah, so very, very comfortable.
He's very comfy. We know it will go much, much higher. And whilst heart rates are individual, and one rider's max might be 155 or 175, or it might be 205, it's what their heart rate is relative to their maximum and how quickly they can recover. At the moment, we're on this same rise. Now, we saw in Category 2, 3 riders go clear on this climb just a little bit earlier. Now we are seeing a push here. Jakob Björklund being closed down here by Jason Osborne. Osborne, the rider with the white helmet, going over the top. He's got the white socks, doesn't narrow it down much, but he's also got blonde hair. It's a pure white helmet, whereas Björklund has got a white and black helmet on. Behind, SS is on his way. SS with his characteristic blue cap here. So here he comes. He's going to make the junction, go over the top. He's not going to want to let them go clear, but he will want to keep this pace moving fast. So let's keep an eye on the riders so they make the way over the top and into this descent. Will they all still be together chasing Sam Hill? So this chasing group, Michael Vink, the man most likely for the UAE Clan team. He's the rider with victory after victory after victory, because he is a rider who we know can excel in the Grand Tours on the road for the World Tour team. For the UAE team, the UAE Emirates team there, he's part of the UAE Clan team here. He is a rider who could well be in the running, and this course could well suit him. He always goes well on courses like the Outer Loop, on Wollongong, and they are not monster climbs. They're not 15-kilometer long climbs there. They are climbs of 3, 4, 5K. There are multiple climbs en route. He also goes well on the Belgian climbs and on the classics, and this course is very, very similar. So Michael Vink nicely tucked in. So Michael Vink tucked in, Jason Osborne right with him, 2 world-class pros in there from the road scene. But we have got riders from lots of different disciplines. Emma, Sam Hill down the road, he's 35 seconds at the moment. You told us he'd already been to the Esports World Championships with his brother Ben, representing Australia. Do you know what his background is? Do you know, is he a mountain biker? Is he a speed skater?
He's a road racer.
Is a blindfold parachutist, or what is he?
And what I love is that Australia can produce 2 class riders called Sam Hill.
Indeed, there are more than one Sam Hills.
It's amazing. What fortuitous nature of Australia is that?
Oh, you know, I could come with some big sweeping generalisations about the number of people's names in a country, but I won't.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, how many countries produce riders of the same name who are world-class cyclists? That's one for a little bit of research. But Sam Hill, road rider, road racer, esports racer, here today. Sam Hill, downhill and enduro phenomena.
Well, yes. Okay. So, SS, the only rider in yellow up here, that's not Sam Hill. So it is SS from the UAE clan team. For regular viewers, that'll be no surprise that he's doing a lot of the work early on in the race. Behind Ruben Dunt, who always goes for the sprint. You can see that. He also put out, he's one of the only 2 riders up in the 7 watts per kilo. That is a sprint effort. And you can see he's working hard up there. He's 1 second behind, but then you've got Kankay, Nicholas Brandt, Karsten-Meyer, Maciej Medakowicz, you've got Jacob Obitko and Go. Category 2 packing out the field behind. SS now has the green skin suit, even though he's in yellow as the Category 1 rider on the left on the satellite navigation. He's in the green skin suit because he's the leader of the sprints. Now, let's go across. Here we are in with Category 3, who are catching Category 4.
Oh,
now,
look at that. Bottom left-hand side of your screen.
Cast your mind back to the start of the show, and we said that this world, this particular one of the 2 parallel worlds that are identical, apart from the riders in them, this world contains Categories 4 and 3. Category 3 set off 5 minutes behind Category 4 and are now closing in on the leaders. You can see that on the left-hand side of your screen, by the way, that there's a lot of blue jerseys working their way through the red jerseys, but also on the right-hand side of your screen, where we are in with Ryan Giuliano at the moment, who's in 24th, 23rd place, rolling around that position, out of 71 riders left in the Category 3 and 4 races combined. If he makes number 1, it means he's the number 1 rider in that world. Complicated? Not really, but for some people it might be late at night or very early in the morning, and if, like me, it's early in the morning and you haven't had enough coffee, well, we're trying to keep it simple for you. Really simple. Overall race in the world that the riders are in. This world contains Category 3 and 4. They're the numbers and the positions on the right-hand side of your screen. In terms of positioning within their category, well, you've got to work out where they are relative to each category, and it's very simple when the lead is taken by that category. So for Category 3 at the moment, they are chasing Category 4. The leading rider at the moment is going to be Trojanowski. He is leading the riders out behind his Clays, Mountier, Giuliano, Velez, Cadiz, Cook and Co. But the pace is being set at the moment, and Marsan is the rider leading this up. We're in with Walter Clays, who's doing the chasing. He's in position 2 on the road in Category 3. They've moved themselves up inside the top 20 of the Category 3 and Category 4 race. Moving to the other parallel world, we're in with the Category 2 leaders. Now, as these riders make their way up, you can see these drops and rises as they come round these turns are really breaking this race up. It's not just about power, it's about taking that momentum through. Pablo Popovic, the momentum master himself, is a great rider to use as an example. He's a rider who uses the way that the platform rides to his advantage because he has ridden it so much he knows it inside out. Watching Mohamed El Alami here, another rider who really is riding the platform well. Yeah. He's not been around as long on terms of on the platform.
4th in the final last week.
Yeah, and he's really using the momentum. You could see that by the way he came through that group there. Really nice riding by him. But there are still a lot of riders in contention, and it breaks, it stretches, it reforms, the draft takes effect as the pace picks up, it's got more effect.
The real nature of that heritage climb, you know, with the really steep sections and then the downhills and the flatter sections, you know, that nature of the climb really means the pack stretches and comes back, which is different to some of the other climbs that we see. Now, you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, it's Category 2. On the left-hand side of your screen, it's Category 1. Category 1 coming up for 16 kilometres now into this race. They're around 400 meters away from the base of the climb. This is the last flat section they're going to see for a while.
So they're coming back in. This is basically the opposite direction, same road, but opposite direction to the way we came out from the pens. The pens are actually at a crossroads. One section that takes you to the pens, one section takes you towards the Elephant Rock, one section it takes you up on to the Heritage Climb. So if you come out the pens and go straight on, you go straight onto this climb. Wouldn't recommend it. It's really hard, but they're hitting the climb.
Well, it's no surprise that Martin Martins is the rider really pushing the pace here. Pim van Diemen is there, Popovic is there, Safrazad is there. They're all going with him. This pack, a big pack of Category 1 riders going into the bottom of this climb, and they're going in hard because they are chasing the rider up the road, Sam Hill.
And let's see what this climb does. Sam Hill will be sitting at a pace that he likes. Now, this climb is not good for time trial style riders or efforts. If you have a consistent gradient, it's easy to get into the right gear, sit at a pace, keep within a beat or two of your maximum heart rate you want to achieve, to sit in that at that threshold and put a steady pace in, because the gradient and the turbo trim, the bike will go at a standard speed. But the problem with this climb is it is sawtooth in profile. It really is jagged. It has peaks, it has troughs on the way up to the summit, and because of that it's very hard to keep a consistent rhythm, and that plays into the hands of the pack rather than the solo rider. That gap was substantial coming in. Will it be substantial as we go over the top? And then of course we've got the descent. Now the descent is not as bumpy, it's not as jagged as the ascent, and it means that the pack will build pace. They will go quicker and the advantage will be with them. So it looks to me like Sam Hill has to push on here because of the profile, because of the descent. It's a longer descent. It's 8k descent basically through to the next climb. It's pretty much all downhill.
Well, there are. Well, you say it's pretty much all. There are some very short
majority is downhill. Yeah, they're steep, but it's got less of a jagged profile as the ascent. The ascent is 5.8k. They are moving fast here. Look at the momentum. Look at the different riders moving through the pack as that momentum goes through. Where you kick on the downhill. If you're a mountain biker, the easy way to think of riding on this climb is a bit like doing a jump line. That you have to use the speed. You land on the downslope as high up as you can to let gravity take you and accelerate you through the bottom of the dip and then up the rise onto the next jump.
I am so loving that you are comparing the MyWhoosh platform with jump bike run.
It is. So it's about that. It's about taking the drop. It's taking the pace and coming up.
Look at that, they're coming.
Sam Hill is trying to ride clear. He's trying to stay clear. He's putting the effort in. They had 30 seconds on the way in. They had 5 seconds. Now they've got none. They are on his wheels. Sam Hill, after that escape, can see them. But I tell you something, he's keeping the pressure.
To work.
Wow, I am loving this ride. Sam Hill, that has got to be the combativity prize. If we had one, we should have a commentator's combativity prize.
Well, I think you've already awarded it today, so Sam Hill takes that combativity prize. But Safrazad, Jones, Osborne, Nair, Talbot, Vink, Jochems, all in the mix at the moment, because that is the leading group in the Category 1 race, and it's a good-sized group.
It is now. Sam Hill has got to do some recovery. He cannot. You just can't stay away for that long and then put in a kick nearly at 7 watts per kilo and then get the recovery and get that heart rate down. Look at his heart rate. He's at 168 beats per minute.
Well, I'll tell you something. He's got some room for wiggle.
Okay. Emma's clearly been doing a research on what he can push in terms of heart rate. We will see. We're not going to give that away on the commentary in case these competitors are watching live. You do your own homework, guys. That would be unfair, just because we've done ours to give it all the way to you. But it would be interesting to see how that plays out. Now, Michael Vink, 7.8 watts per kilo on the front. The screens behind lighting up in yellow and red chevrons as they chase. Michael Vink, is Vink going to go over the section of climb here? The summit of this climb is at 22.1k. There is plenty of time to do damage to the rest of the riders. Vink has gone relatively early. The moment that the catch was made to Sam Hill, Vink moved up and he's now started to try to go clear. Kaminsky in pursuit along with Van Diemen, Osborne, Vujasin, Talbot, Savizar. They are all after him at the moment, but look at the dip and rise here. Another drop down, then another riser. This is going to suit riders who can kick and kick again. Oh, I wish I was racing this. I really do. This course is brilliant. I love this.
You really
line.
need to be careful every time you say that, because eventually someone will say, I'll tell you what, I'll do Matt a swap. I'll come and join Emma in the commentary box and Matt can race a Sunday race club. But at the moment...
Only if I can pick the course and train for... and the category. No, that would be unfair. If I can pick the course and I can go train for about 12 months beforehand.
So if you want to get your name on the commentary box in 12 months' time,
yeah.
drop me a line at Biking Emma. Well, Safrazad, Talbot, Vink, Osborne, Kaminsky, Vujasin, Nair and Walter all in this leading group. And you can see on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, we've got a big pack of Category 1 riders and a long tail behind, because we've got riders still pushing and trying to get back on. And the gradient changes on this climb are allowing riders to get back on. In fact, we're witnessing a rider right now just closing that gap and coming back into the mix. In fact, I can just see now the riders being distanced. Sam Hill, the early leader, now 12 seconds down. Carradine here, or from Carradine here, who is 30 seconds down from that leading group. That is Jody Jochems, who is the rider at the back of the leading group. Then Carradine, the rider, first rider who is now chasing.
This is going to be really interesting, this run in to the summit. We've just had this little drop. We're going to go on to this next long section. As you can see on the top right hand side of your screen, as our riders are cheered on the side of the road on the weekend of the UAE National Day, you can see Michael Kaminsky and Michael Vink at the moment on the front. Two Michaels leading this out, with David Talbot quickly up in attention there. And I'm now looking for names that are a little bit quieter who we normally see up here. And because for me, this is what's key. Who's in this group who's not done lots of work, who's not expended too much energy? Lionel Vujasin, he's there or thereabouts, but he's not poked his nose out at the very front yet.
Well, that's going to be interesting, isn't it? You know, Vujasin, well, I'm just going to take... Wow, I was taking a little look, actually. You know, he's not been in the top 5 for a few weeks. So we might see him pop his nose out, but that depends on his form. But at the moment, the man on form is Michael Vink. He's the rider pushing on at the front. Jason Osborne is at the front of the pack behind. Are they going to try and... I wouldn't want to let Michael Vink go this early.
You could never let Michael Vink go at any point in time. Under any circumstances, do you ever let that man have any air between his back wheel and your front wheel?
Well, the rider...
Don't ever let it happen.
No, well, Zach Nair's pushing on at the moment. So is Noren, so is Talbot, so is Osborne and Vujasin. Oh, look at those chevrons across the screen trying to catch him.
This is a really big push. Let's see, can he close him down? So Michael Vink, we've just been watching that attack, watching the response, studying the numbers. Our riders will have been studying their screens and searching. Their nose will be glued to the handlebar stem of the bike, because they will be trying to bury themselves to stay with Michael Vink and Jason Osborne. Kaminsky in the red, pushing at 8 watts per kilo, watching the response. I'll tell you who is in this mix, a man we mentioned earlier on. We can see the riders squeezing, and it certainly looks to me like Ollie Jones working really hard.
Well, what I'm impressed with is Kaminsky there. So Kaminsky choosing to use the steering function to take a turn away from the riders behind and push to come across to Vink and Osborne. So we've now got Vink, Kaminsky and Osborne as a 3 at the front. Now, Kaminsky, we were talking about him the other week, and he was 5th in the final last week on the Paso Alto, and the week before he'd won the King of the Mountains competition, even though he'd not finished in the top 5. So we knew his climbing was really, really strong at the moment, and he's just showed that to us, being able to bridge across from the chase group to the leading 2 riders.
Okay, so let's jump from category 1 to the riders in category 3. Walter Clays, we saw him in pursuit of our climb leader. In category 3, Walter Clays has got the polka dot jersey. He took the fastest time up the heritage climb. The points awarded for the heritage climb, for the Canyon Oasis climb, and the Nabatine climb. The Nabatine K climb is the final climb. Those points will add up. You can see that it's Pablo Vanegas who's got the points in the mountain competition, and he's actually the rider who I think is likely to see Walter Clays come up. He's closing in on the leaders in category 4 at the moment. So category 4 leaders in this world, which is categories 3 and 4, are coming together. Walter Clays closing on the back of this group as they come through. Remember, this is that long descent down, but we're nearly at the base of the climb. They're going to come around this right-hand sweeping turn. This is almost a full 360 degrees, and then they are going to come down to the junction at the bottom of the climb. This is the bottom of that 8K descent. They've got a little bit of a run across to the next climb when they hit that Canyon Oasis climb, but that's a super short one, 1.6K, and then it's another bumpy section of road. It's like an extended FRB from Colombia, just transferred into Alula.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it is. There you go. I'm going to carry on for a second, Emma. Sorry, I'm going to let you just stay in the background for a moment. The riders at the moment, Walter Clays makes the junction. So we have a rider from category 3 now up with the leaders of category 4. The chasers behind. They're not that far behind. Martin is in pursuit. Let's go back to the alternate world. This is the world of category 1 and category 2. Jason Osborne at the moment is in pursuit of Michael Vink, but Michael Vink is the figure in yellow in front. He has gone clear. Michael Vink leading in 1, Osborne in 2, Kaminsky in 3, Savrasad is in 4, but this is dot to dot on the mountain. Will they be able to join themselves up together? Will they link themselves together? I am not sure that they will, because it's about this descent. It's a long way down, but the top is knife edge here. So when the riders get to the summit,
it's not even halfway.
It's not, but, and it is a massive but, when you go over the top, so at the moment you look at that distance, you think, yeah, it's a couple hundred meters, it's not too bad. It's what, 12 seconds. Going uphill, you can't go very far in 12 seconds because you're climbing. But when one rider is going downhill and one rider is going uphill, the distance between them increases exponentially as they go up here. This is the chasing group: Osborne, Kaminsky, Savrasad and Jones. That's it.
Well, what interesting, no, actually it's Noren, Osborne, Kaminsky and Savrasad. Yep. And what's interesting is Noren and Savrasad have caught Kaminsky and Osborne.
Yep.
Now, you're quite right. Jones is not much further back, just 6 seconds back. So this is now a chase group of 4, not a chase group of 2. And
they're working. Look at that.
Well, they are working. And to be really honest, when you get to the top of the heritage climb, there is further to go in the race than they have yet covered.
And remember, this banner is not at the very summit. It's almost. But having ridden this, when you come up here, you've got this little bit more to push. So a lot like when you see a stage finish on something like the Tour de France, Tour of Spain, Tour of Italy, the big Grand Tours, they put the line before the actual final top of the ascent of the climb. That is mean, it's harsh, it's horrible, but you know what? It makes our riders work. Now, Michael Vink went up that climb 10.338 seconds faster than Johan Noren in 2. Kaminsky, Osborne, Savrasad and Jones, the chasers behind. So that is a chasing group of 5 riders chasing Michael Vink, who is clear. So we are going to have a little look at those riders in a bit more detail in a while. Custom Mare, the fastest rider in category 2, but you can see nearly 2 minutes behind the fastest time of the day for Michael Vink. Behind, Vujacin, Van Diemen and Tolbert have just gone through the archway at the top of the climb, Emmy, you were saying this is not even halfway. You're dead right. Let's have a look at the second half of the course now.
So the top of the climb, that first category 2 climb, the heritage climb, where our riders have just gone over 22.1 kilometres into a 45-kilometre race. So now it is a huge descent. The descent pretty much taking us into the next climb, the Canyon Oasis climb, coming at 30.1 kilometres. So 8 kilometres pretty much of descent. There are indeed some kickers along the way, but it is going to be a fast 8 kilometres into that Canyon Oasis climb. Now that climb, it's only 1.6 kilometres long with an average gradient of 4.9%. They are going to feel it. It is going to be a big kick. There is then a flatter section. The cliff sprint comes at the top of the cliff. And then we have a downhill run into the final climb of the day. That's a category 4 climb, 2.4 kilometres long with an average gradient of 6.1%. And that is going to take us up to a flat 1.2 kilometre run to the finish.
Now, for me, one of the key things here, Canyon Oasis climb, the time section is midway up. You could say that that is a long climb.
Yeah.
There is, it could be like a 3K climb almost, but it's actually on that central section. And that does mean people will focus on that. Now, this is the chasing group of 5 mixed in with category 2 rider, but, and
Jones
it is a big but, Jones is in there as well. And I think they are struggling a little bit further back down the road. We saw SS doing a lot of work. We saw Sam Hill doing a lot of work earlier on. People like Daniele Ratto, Sir Carradine, they're on the way up and over the top. And looking at SS, I think he's just about to hit this next station of downhill in pursuit of the riders. But you can see Michael Kaminsky, left-hand side of your screen as well. There are riders scattered, and these are riders that we have seen working really hard early on, maybe paying the price for it now.
Well, and also, you know, we talked about momentum and getting your momentum technique right on a downhill. On a downhill like this one, where there are some very short, sharp, steep uphill sections, the rolling nature of that and then getting the momentum going again over the top will create stretch on a group if you're not watching.
It will. And I think for me, I just saw SS just freewheel there just to give Sam Hill a chance to catch up on the momentum. On the base, working hard there. Let's see how that transpires. Left-hand side of the main group of chasers are on your screen now. They're chasing Michael Vink. He's at 5 seconds down the road. So here we go. These are the leading chasers. It was 5 seconds. We have been looking at that gap yo-yoing at the moment. You can just see Jason Osborne going around the side. And I tell you something, Todd Alan Jung at the moment, just jumping in with them. And that is a smart move. Mark Gates, who's up the road, 19 seconds up the road, will have got that on the climb. And he'll be thinking, hang on a minute. They're going to give him a lift towards my back wheel here.
Michael Vink is now pushing hard because I tell you what, the chase group can see him. It's just 5 seconds separating them. So Vink, all that work and all that effort, we've got a chase group of 5 and the chase group are working together to bring him back.
But it does mean he has brought it down to a select group of riders. It's not a pack of 19. He has made them work for that selection. And there is no way that any of those riders who have made that selection are going to be sitting there thinking, well, that was easy. No, it's not. They're not, are they? There's no way they're going to think that.
If you are sat there thinking that was easy, drop me a line and let me know. But I don't think you
I'll
are.
call BS on that one. My goodness me.
Well, they've worked hard and they've worked their socks off for that position and they deserve that position with the work that they've done. And I tell you what, Ollie Jones is riding strongly today. You know, he went off the front last week and he put that pace in and he tried to stay away and to see how long he could take it for. Well, this week he stayed in the pack and he's been pretty hidden in the pack until now, you know.
But he then climbed, he got to the right place. We said early on you had to be in the leading group. This is the leading group. It's not the leader. That leader is in a polka dot skin suit up the road because he's the fastest rider on the climb. It was Michael Vink, just making the way over the top. They're actually almost directly over the top of the start of the climb as they come up and through this sort of sinuous winding road that goes up and down the Heritage Climb, playing host to the biggest climb of the day, the Category 2 climb of the Heritage Climb. We've done the ascent. We have almost finished the descent down, and at the moment they can see the race leader in Category 1 in front. Michael Vink currently sitting 22nd place in the Category 1 and 2 world, the parallel world to the Category 3-4 world.
Well, let's just remember that Category 1 started 5 minutes after Category 2. So continuing to do the chasing, and that gap coming down now between this chase group of 5 and Michael Vink, now 4 seconds.
That gap is coming down. Now, just focusing on Category 2. Tell you what, if you were in Category 2 and you got caught just at the top of that descent, go out and buy a lottery ticket because your luck is in. It really is, because that makes a massive difference. Getting caught at that point has allowed you to jump in, if you've got the speed, got the ability, got the technique, etc., with those riders who are in Category 1. And it means that Nicholas Spratt here in this league group, Maciek Medekowicz, Phil Grace, Carsten Meyer, it is a Class 3 riders. They are the leaders, they push clear, but they will know that coming up behind them is a group of riders. You can see that there is a big chasing group just behind Carsten Meyer, who's in 4th. Quintero, Munoz in there. You've got Alami in there. You've got Simeons in that group. It's a group of about 4, if not 5 riders. And then you've got behind them the chasing group coming in behind. Now, as these 3 riders go with the lake to their left-hand side, and that big waterfall off to the left, they make their way around the cliff face and the palm trees to their right. They know that they are not so going to hold on if they're not careful. They have to keep the pressure on. They're heading for that Canyon Oasis cliff climb. We are in the Oasis.
I'm sorry, but you can smell the waterfall.
You can smell the waterfall?
Yes.
Okay. If that clip makes the rewinds next time round, I will be most surprised, but you never ever know.
Well, anyway, whilst we're smelling the waterfall and the beautiful surroundings, we've got the race on in Category 2. I think I have finally managed to achieve the flooring of Matt in the commentary booth. Well, it is flooring the commentator, but there is Spratt, Mendakowicz and Graves who are flooring the rest of the field here. Carsten Meyer is on the chase with Olivia Simmons. El Alami, who's putting in an astounding ride today as well. Munoz is not far back with Ospina as well. So the chase is now on in Category 2. Michael Vink now working his way up into 18th place in this race
He's not going to be 18th for long.
He's not. He's continuing to move and continuing to progress, and he can see the polka dot banner to signify the start of the Canyon Oasis climb.
So this Canyon Oasis climb kicks in. It is 1.6k long, 4.9% average gradient. It's consistent gradient on the way up. Michael Vink with James Krasnich. It's Krasnich who is trying to stay with Michael Vink and use the catch by Vink here to go with him. So James Krasnich, Michael Vink together, they are working. I tell you what, they're working well here. I'm not sure how long James Krasnich is going to be able to hold that pace, but if he can try and stay with Michael Vink, it could bring him up to Ruben Don in 15th place, to Quintero, to Ospina and co. They are down the road. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're a minute and a half nearly down the road, but it is catchable with the using the motor that is Michael Vink. I mean, you know, it's a bit like the old days of motor pacing when they sat on a motorbike and you could sit behind them and race. They still do it. This
I know.
I'm
laughing at the concept of Vink being a motorbike, but he really, really is. Do you know, he's pushed on and he is now 20 seconds ahead of the chase group.
Now, here's a thought for you. Here's a controversial thought. I like a bit of controversy. James Krasnich is doing all the work here. He's a Category 2 rider. Why is he doing all the work in front of Michael Vink?
Well,
what is the connection? The connection is they're both Australian.
No, they're not. They're both from New Zealand.
They're both New Zealand riders. My apologies. I'm looking at a very tiny flag on my screen. So they are both riders from the same nation. You've got Krasnich in here. Krasnich is doing the work. He's on the front. He's giving Michael Vink a toe here. And for what benefit? Because, yeah, he's going clear of Bjarhead. He's going clear of Volk. But I tell you something. If he does all the work and you don't see Vink do a turn, he goes pop. And I think he has. Yeah, he has.
Well, I'm not surprised. But
He's
he hung
gone
in
pop.
there, didn't he?
But look at that. He was helping in category 1. That is interesting because I don't think that's actually there's nothing in the rules that says you can't do that.
No, there isn't. Absolutely not. There's nothing in the rules that says you can't take the draft.
I'll tell you something. I'm glad I'm not
past.
James Krasnich's legs though, because
well,
I bet
they're feeling it now. And Vink has put 10 seconds into him very, very quickly. But Vink continues his dominance up this climb. He's not got much longer before he gets to the top at 31.7. So 500 kilometres to the top of this climb.
500 kilometres?
500 kilometres. Now, that would be a long climb, wouldn't it? 500 metres. I know. 500 metres. Okay, let's just stop and pause and start again. 500 metres till the top of the climb. But the chase group, take a look at this. So Kaminsky, Noren, Osborne, Jones. I think I saw SS nearly making the catch as well. In fact, that's the interesting bit because I think
Said Safrazad.
Said Safrazad is there, but they're not that far back. You know, Tolbert, Vujasin, they are 12 seconds?
15 seconds maybe.
It's not far,
yo-yo,
you know.
I think.
It is going to yo-yo, but you know what? They could indeed close that gap. It's currently at 6 seconds. They could indeed close that gap and get back on, you know.
This is a great move by Talbot.
Look at the push here. He's seen him.
When the riders in front come into the slope, as the pace goes off, that distance comes down. If you kick, as the riders in front hit the base of the slope, you accelerate through the base of the flat section or downhill section into the climb. It gives you the impetus to get back on again. You've now got to hold it. Great riding by David Talbot.
5 becomes 6.
And about to become 7 because Lionel Vujasin
is doing the same thing.
Here he comes.
Yeah, so Vujasin does the same thing. So the next rider down the road is Pim van Diemen. He's at 9 seconds. The question is, can he do the same? This is swelling the numbers here really, really strongly. Now, Vink is 50 seconds down the road. That's going to be interesting. 300 metres because of the climb. But there's still a long run into the finish, you know.
And you can just see what we mean about the time differences changing because they're dynamic, because they're based on a calculation of distance and the speed of the rider at the time. Vink's gap opening up to nearly a minute as he's on the descent, and these riders come over the top of the Canyon Oasis climb. That gap at the top, though, will change because these riders are now going to pick when the calculation is done in real time of their speed versus the distance covered and the distance to go. That will change the time gap. It's now at 35 seconds or so, 30 seconds, and I think that's a realistic indicator because the riders are going to be on similar terrain as these riders go underneath that UCI banner here. This group are looking like they are going to try and use this section of road to close the gap down because you look at those numbers coming out.
Well, I'll tell you something, it was Ollie Jones pushing on there. So Vujasin, Tolbert, Vink. Not Vink setting the fastest time up the Canyon Oasis climb. He might be the leader on the road in that Category 1 race, but Vujasin and Tolbert, 2 of the chasing riders, setting a faster time than Michael Vink. In fact, they went up there 14 seconds faster than Michael Vink. So Vujasin and Tolbert closing down on Vink. And there they are indeed. So Vujasin, Osborne, Noren, Kaminsky and Tolbert, they caught that group. They closed 14 seconds down on that climb, and they've really worked for it. So Vujasin, Tolbert and Vink, the 3 fastest riders up the climb. The Canyon Oasis climb, they are now at 32.7 kilometres of this 45-kilometre race. There is still some significant racing to go. Just taking a look now, the gap 45 seconds to Michael Vink. So the race is also on in that Category 2 race. And I'm just looking at the results on the climb, and I can tell you that Graves, Mendakowicz and Spratt absolutely motoring up that climb to try and cement that gap in that Category 2 race. This is the Category 1 race we're watching. Vink on the left-hand side of your screen is leading at the moment. That is the chase group on the right-hand side of your screen. It's looking to me that Vink is pushing on now at a time trialing effort. This group, well, I think they've sat up a little bit, Matt.
I think they have. That was an opportunity for them to go after him. But this climb is not complete until you go over the bump that Michael Vink is just hitting now. He's got to go up and over that bump. They could have used this to go back in and through. Are they thinking, well, Vink's done a Vink, we need to now think about our positions?
Well, that's it, isn't it? And there are more than 4 riders in that group.
Yeah.
So for where the top 5 is going to come from is going to be quite an interesting one here, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders in that group and 4 places left on the podium. So are we now seeing that other focus of this group now thinking who's going to be 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th, rather than can we work to catch Michael Vink and take 1st place?
See, that disappoints me.
Why? Because people have made an assumption that Vink's going to win before he has.
Yep. Because anything can happen, and we've seen that happen. And we've seen Michael Vink blow before now.
I tell you the rider who is impressing me today, and that is Ollie Jones, because Ollie Jones is making the action on this group. He's come to the front again, he's pushed on, and now David Tolbert is there as well. So Tolbert, after having made the catch with Vujassin, now deciding that catching the chasers is not enough. Come on, we can catch the leader.
Yeah. I mean, that's what, 7, 8, 9 riders in that group?
No, there's 6.
There's not.
There's more, actually, isn't there?
There is.
Let me take a little look here. So we've got Jones.
Even with my bike counting.
Noren, we've got Kaminsky, we've got Vujassin, we've got Tolbert. Who am I missing?
Kaminsky, Safrazad, Osborne.
Safrazad and Osborne. Maybe 7 now. So who is the rider who has taken the catch?
Right, whilst Emma works that out, don't talk amongst yourselves. Focus on Mr. Vink, who's currently going underneath that green banner. He starts the cliff sprint, which is an indicator he's at the top of the climb. It's right at the top of this climb, this sprint, and this will give an indicator who is pushing over the top. So when we talk about snapshots, this is a great snapshot because the cliff sprint is at the top of the climb. These 300 meters here are about pushing, building momentum for the downhill. Now, if you're feeling fresh, you're going to kick over the top of the climb. You're going to really accelerate through here, and you're going to take that momentum in and that pace into the descent, because that will allow you to descend at the maximum pace. Use your power wisely. Really is key. As we come into this sprint, this is the chasing group about to hit the start banner. So in 300 meters time, they will set a marker down, and it will give us an indicator if they are moving faster through this 300 meter section or slower than Michael Vink. And how they take that power onto that descent will be a key indicator of whether or not they're going to pull him back.
Okay, so 7 riders confirmed in the chasing group. Tolbert, Vujassin, Kaminsky, Noren, Jones, Safrazad and Osborne all chasing now as they come under that sprint section. So that is the cliff sprint section they have just seen at the end of as they continue to work their way through this race. Now, this is interesting because this is, well, for me, this is a recovery pace for these riders. The heart rates are dropping. They are taking the recovery as they transition on this section. They've got a big, long run in now to the climb. But look at that. You know, Michael Vink going through that sprint the fastest. He's continuing to push on at a time trial pace, 25.389 seconds. It is the Category 2 riders that are next.
6.4 watts per kilo, 459 watts as he came through the top, that 300 meters at the top.
And the chasing pack are moving at about 3.3 to 3.6.
Says everything.
Does, doesn't it? They're not chasing Michael Vink down anymore.
No. Game over unless Michael Vink stops for a coffee or an ice cream. Or
well, hopefully he'll do that when he finishes rather than during the race. Well, as we stop talking about Michael Vink and we go back into the Category 2 race, Spratt, Graves and Mendakowicz have got around 45 seconds on the chasing group, and this is the chasing group. Look at the size of this. This Category 2 field, absolutely phenomenal. Simmons is there, Kayan is there, El Alami is there, Gromber is there, Quintero is there, Khan is there, This is a phenomenal chasing pack, but the 3 riders away are absolute class.
And they're motoring. They are really, really working for this. The leading 3 riders. They've gone, went clear. They've held that lead so far. Remember, it's not all over yet. As we drop down from the cliff sprint, we've got to go to the Nabataean Caves climb. That final climb is a 2.4 kilometer climb that kicks in, and then it is that flat run in to the finish of 1.2k. And believe me, having raced a kilo on the track, which is 1,000 meters, I know how much it hurts. My fastest time on that was a 1:04, done on a training bike, actually, on a training ride rather than in competition, and that was done with normal, like standard spokey wheels and stuff. But that, I have to tell you, was the most painful 1k of my life, without a doubt, and that includes falling off the bike repeatedly and crashing. So that's the sort of effort they've got to put in. Michael Vink, he's got the fastest accumulated points. He's got the sprint jersey. He's leading out in category 1 in terms of sprints, as well as leading. And guess what? He's got the polka dot jersey.
He's got 7.2 kilometers of this race still to go. And he's currently got a 45-second gap on the 7 chasing riders. He's continuing to work his way through the category 2 race field. That is indeed Munoz. He has just gone past. El Alami is the next rider. And I know El Alami is part and parcel of the chasing group. So the chasing group is what is ahead now of Michael Vink, and then the 3 leaders on the road. Now, is Vink going to be able to take past all of those category 2 riders to take the win today on the road here, or will it be the category 2 riders staying out front long enough?
My money's on Michael Vink. I hate to say it.
Well, I don't disagree, to be really honest. But
Michael Vink, I think that's his motivation as well now.
Yep.
Oh, move on the front. Here we go. Another person winding it up on the front. Another rider starting to kick off. David Talbot. He has been aggressive. He doesn't want to just sit with these riders riding at a pace that's not going to catch back. I tell you something, I'm loving the spirit here.
Talbot is really, really dynamic today racing, and he is making up the action. So he is absolutely adamant. Come on, we can do this. It's 34 seconds. We've got over 7 kilometers to go. We can really push here, and we can still make a difference because we are 7 riders. And the momentum we can gain on this downhill section is absolutely key.
Yeah, if they use this section of road, this is where it's going to count. Use the dynamics. You've got 7 riders. You've got in there riders who are going to be able to push. You've got a category 2 rider who doesn't even matter where they finish with you, but you've got the momentum. Use the draft, guys. This is your moment. Use it or lose it.
Ruben Dont, who is the category 2 rider in the group, he is a class rider, Dont.
Yeah.
And, he's going to be absolutely loving the tow from this group and the draft he can get off the group to bring him back to what will be the chasing group in the category 2 race ahead.
And he will contribute. He's not just going to suck the wheels. He will contribute because you've seen him in the sprint. He's there putting in the effort. He wants to work hard. He doesn't just come on just to see what he can do in the race. He wants to improve, and he's doing that. And the way you get better is with you ride with people who are faster than you. Riding with people who are slower than you will not make you go quick. Riding with a category 1 group, if you're category 2, boy, that is a top quality trade, and he's got that now. Michael Vink up to 14th place between the category 1 and category 2 riders in that world. Currently leading the category 1 race for the UAE clan team. And Talbot, is it again? Is there no stopping this, man?
Well, the problem he's got is the riders are not working with him. So Talbot continuing to be the rider who wants to put the chase in on Michael Vink, getting no help from anybody else. Everyone else taking a tow, and when the riders come to the front, they slow it right back down. Now, Vink does have
Go on.
the edge here, 35 seconds, and I'm just taking a look through, so Vink doesn't have any of his teammates in this chase group to slow it down, but they are slowing it down. They're
I know you were thinking that surely that's team tactics, but it's not. No,
it's not. And but it is tactics based on riders searching for position.
So the riders, let's give you a quick summary. We've got category 1, Vink away in 1. Behind, you've got Talbot chasing in 2, but let's look across at the parallel world of Category 3 and World 4. I'm loving the 2 parallel worlds. It might continue for a long time. This Walter Glaze, the man who put in the attack on the climb, the man who's got the polka dot jerseys holding it. Marcin Trojanowski is the rider chasing him. He's chased him all the way through. There are 800 meters to go to the line. Trojanowski chasing Glaze. Behind him is Cadiz, Juliano, Velez and Milostic. But I think that realistically now it's Glaze to lose. He's just got to keep this power down. 400 meters to go. He should be adding the yellow jersey to the polka dot jersey that he has got as the winner. This is about the run for the line. Walter Glaze leading this out. He's holding that pace. That heart rate is steady. If anything, he's almost dropping. I think he's comfortable here, Emma.
Well, he's pushing on as Walter Glaze pushes to Trojanowski is coming, but he's not going to come fast enough as Glaze goes round the corner. That is the banner. That is the finish line. Walter Glaze takes the win on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club Qualifier Race number 1.
So it's Glaze taking 1. It's going to be Trojanowski who's going to go underneath that UCI banner in second place. He's just behind. He's held off everybody else. Not to be the win today, but a great second place. Behind, it's going to come down to a sprint between Cadiz and Giuliano for third place. One of these riders will be in third, one in fourth. And then behind, I think Jamie Velez is going to be the rider who's going to take fifth. Remember, you can catch up with all of those results on the MyWhoosh.com website. We're going to take a look back at where we are in the world of Category 1 and 2. Category 1 race leader Michael Vink on to our final climb. This is the Nabatean Cave climb. He is on his way through that. He's working really well. Phil Graves is the leader on the road. He is the Category 2 race leader. He is currently at 42.3k, so he's a substantial distance in front of Michael Vink. It may well be that Vink is not going to close down all the rest of the riders, but Graves, Spratt, Mendakowicz, they are the 3 riders leading at the moment. The 3 riders are together. Graves and Spratt, traditionally teammates. Mendakowicz has put in appearances on some of our winning teams. Great riding by all 3. They're on the right-hand side of your screen. But I'll tell you something, Michael Vink is motoring. He has got 44 seconds on David Talbot.
He's time-trialled his way away from the rest of the Category 1 race field. They have tried to chase, and they have tried to chase hard. And in fact, Talbot has been leading the charge in chasing Michael Vink. But Vink now continuing to work his way through the back. Well, I say the back, it's coming up for the top 10 of the Category 2 race field. This is what is left of the chasing group, because the chasing group has split in that Category 2 race. The chasing group in the Category 1 race, well, these riders are all over the road. So currently we are in with SS. Bart van den Eekhout, Jakob Bjorklund are up the road. This is SS with Keradine and Cantazaro. But these riders are chasing as they hit the 40.3 mark. They continue to work. They've got 4.5 kilometers left to go, but they need to continue to keep working.
And it's going to be tough stuff because they know they've got the climb coming up that Michael Vink is on. They know in front of them is that Nabatean Cave climb. Vink making his way through. He's gone past Bankston Mare and Ospina now. He's up into 5th place overall on the road. He's the leading Category 1 rider. Remembering, of course, 5 minutes separated Category 1 from Category 2 at the start of the day's racing. Currently, 56 seconds separates Michael Vink from the overall lead coming in our Category 1 to a world here today. And Vink will want to be the first rider over the line. I know that he's always wanting to take the win, but winners are winners and they want to win no matter what. Vink is on his way. He's over the top of Simeons. He's now into 4th place on the left of your screen, right-hand side of your screen. This chasing group have caught David Talbot. And do you know something here, Emma? I think this is going to be an absolute battle. Norrin is only about 4 seconds off the wheels of Talbot, Kaminsky and Safrazad. So this is going to be very tactical as well as being a tough final. 1.2k on the flat, and that's after we complete the climb.
Yeah, it is indeed. So there is now 3 kilometers to go for the chasing group in category 1. There is 2.7 to go for Michael Vink. So 300 meters separating Vink from the chasing group, but that is 300 meters of uphill from this final climb. They're continuing to work, continuing to push, and I'll tell you something, the category 2 leading pack of 3 have been split, and it's Mendakowicz who has pushed on the climb. Phenomenal racer, regular winner of category 2. I think he won qualifier 1 in November, if memory serves me right. But Spratt and Graves, they are working now together behind. They're on the flat section, but it's a 13-second gap now to Mendakowicz with 900 meters to go.
So this run into the finish is going to be critical. It is a real pursuit. It's one man versus two. Mendakowicz, the solo rider, leading the race behind. Spratt and Graves cannot finesse. They have to go for this. Do they gamble and go for the first prize? Do they wait for the sprint and just battle it out for second and third place? They've got to chase down Mendakowicz. He's on the right-hand side of your screen. He's got 600 meters to go. So Michael Vink on the left-hand side of your screen there continues to push in pursuit. He's about a minute behind these riders. So I think we're going to see our race winner in Category 2 come through about 1 minute ahead of the winner in Category 1. That time gap may come down, but Mendakowicz cannot take it easy on the run-in. Graves and Spratt are only 10 seconds behind.
Well, Graves and Spratt are working hard behind, but I don't think they're going to pull Mendakowicz back in. Mendakowicz has got 300 meters left. He's leading the Category 2 race. Is it going to be Mendakowicz? Are Graves and Spratt going to be able to kick from behind? Tell you something, Spratt is kicking from behind. 12 watts per kilo coming from Spratt. But Mendakowicz sees the finish line. That is the finish line. Mendakowicz is going to win the Category 2 race.
So Masek Mendakowicz takes the win in Category 2. Behind it's Nicholas Spratt taking second place and Phil Graves taking third place. This is the run for the line for our Category 1 race leader. He wants to turn this into a Category 1 race win. He's done it plenty of times before. Michael Vink has shown just why he arrives on the World Tours, on the professional race team for the UAE. He is the UAE clan team rider who's going to lead the race home. He has got a substantial gap. It's still nearly half a minute from the nearest chaser behind, and Michael Vink now knows that this race is his. What a ride. Soloing to race victory here today. It is Michael Vink of the UAE clan team on the Alula Heritage Climb course on the Sunday Race Club.
Well, Vink comes across the line in 1, and all eyes turn to who is going to take second place. At the moment, it's Safrazad. Safrazad kicks at 11.5 watts per kilo. Kaminsky is going as well. Who is going to take this? Safrazad, Kaminsky, both of them riding. Michael Kaminsky goes over the top of Safrazad. Safrazad kicks again, but Kaminsky gets 2. Safrazad gets 3. Noren, I think, takes 4. Vujasin coming round the corner for 5th place.
And he's going to hold that from Jason Osborne, who I think will take 6th. It's likely to be Jones and Osborne battling it out for 6th and 7th place. Behind Mohammed El Alami on his way in Category 2. Category 1 and 2 coming through thick and fast. Remember, of course, 5 minutes separating them at the start. Great ride by Mohammed El Alami here today on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. These riders making the way into the finish of the Alula Heritage Climb race route. So, Michael Vink in 1, Michael Kaminsky in 2. It's Safrazad in the ship side, Safrazad in 3, Johan Noren in 4, line over Justin in 5, and Ollie Jones in 6. Jason Osborne in 7.
So 40 seconds separating the top 7 in the Category 1 race. Mendakowicz, Spratt and Graves 1, 2, 3 in Category 2. Clues, Trodanowski and Cadiz in Category 3. And Warren from Vangas from Mertry in Category 4.
And you can catch up with the full results on mywhoosh.com/results. All the results at the moment are live. And of course, they will become unofficial once the race is finished and all our riders are in over the line. They'll then be verified, and that will be your final result. We are going to get ready for, of course, the next qualifier. That is in 1 week's time. Our women's and men's race coming out on MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Please do catch up with us for that. Emma, I know you are probably going to go gargle some weird concoction afterwards. Thank you very much for joining me in the commentary box.
No, it's been absolutely great. Thank you, Matt.
And don't forget, you can join me. It's at Matt Fix the Pain. You can catch up with what I'm up to. I am going to head off by the magic of modern technology to cover the cyclocross, the UCI World Cup from Flamanville. That's going to be coming up very shortly in about an hour's time. If you're able to watch that and join me on that, I'd love to see you there. If not, don't forget, make sure you catch up with everything that's happening in the MyWhoosh world on social media with at MyWhoosh, at Biking Emma for social media. Get in touch with Emma. You never know, you might see her on a ride if she's got the breathing back under control after that sprint finish. But from Emma, from the entire team at MyWhoosh, thank you very much for watching. Thank you to our riders. But from me, Matt Payne, stay safe. We'll see you again soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.